It's probation.
Your Honor, I'm just checking on the clerk's website here. It looks like on that conveyance charge, she was granted judicial release in May of 20, ordered to complete STAR.
I did.
And I don't see where she's been terminated from supervision.
Okay, so she
No,
has.
I asked to get
right,
it.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the reason I bring it up is because if you're convicted of a felony in this case, then that's a violation of the terms of your judicial release. So it could subject you to having that revoked, and if that occurred, then that sentence could also, the remainder of that sentence could also, would also be served, could be served consecutively to these charges. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you are sentenced to prison and complete prison term, then upon completion of that term, it is possible the Adult Parole Authority may exercise their option to put you under post-release control for a period of up to 2 years, which means you'd be supervised by a parole officer in the terms they set because the court's not involved with that. And if during that period of time they determine that you have failed to comply, then they can return you to prison to make you serve an additional period of up to 9 months for any single violation, with a maximum or cap of half of the prison term, all prison terms, for all violations. However, should you commit a new felony while under post-release control, then in addition to whatever sentence a judge in the new felony case can impose upon you, that judge could also sentence you for committing that offense while under post-release control in this case to an additional period of 1 year, whatever time's left on that period of post-release control, whichever is greater. And that would have to be served consecutively to the sentence of the new case. Now, I'm not required to sentence you to prison for these offenses, so I could impose community control, which you're familiar with, being on judicial release, which means that you'd be supervised under conditions set by the court for a period of up to 5 years. And if during that period of time the court determined that the probation department felt that you were not compliant, they would file a written notice of that with the court. There would be a hearing. You would be entitled to have an attorney. And if the outcome of that was that you had failed to comply, then at that time the court would revoke your community control and then sentence you to prison, in this case, for a total of 30 months and fine you $7,500. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, now, the charge in count 1 alleges on or about March 12, 2021 in this county, Christopher Pence and you did not only obtain, possess, or use a Schedule II controlled substance with a fentanyl-related compound, violation of Section 2925.11 ORC. So that's the 5th degree felony. Count 5 alleges that on or about November 4, 2021 in this county, Teresa Ann Sharp and you did not only sell or offer to sell methamphetamine, Schedule II controlled substance in violation of 2925.0381. And that's the 4th degree felony. Do you understand what it is you've been charged with in those 2 counts, what the state said you did, when, where, and how they alleged you did it?
Yes, sir.
And have you discussed the nature of the charges, the evidence in the case, possible legal issues in the case, and possible defenses you might try to raise at trial, possible outcomes of a trial with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with her advice and competence in this matter?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any types of drugs or alcohol at this time?
No, sir.
Are you taking any prescription drugs?
No.
Has anyone threatened you to get you to plead guilty here today?
No.
Now, at the bottom of page 2, there are several sentences that are printed in bold and underlined that read as follows. Defendant shall enter a plea of guilty to count 1 and count 5. State will dismiss remaining counts. State and defense jointly recommend 9 months incarceration on count 1, consecutive 9 months incarceration on count 5. Defendant agrees to repay bond money to the Highland County Task Force, the amount of $25 joint and several with Teresa Ann Sharp. Defendant agrees to cooperate fully against co-defendants and cooperate with the task force. Is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, sir.
Did anyone promise you anything other than that to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Now, under the law, the matter of sentence is up to the judge, not the parties. So if you plead guilty or are found guilty, the court is one that will determine the sentence. And so even though there's a recommendation for both parties as to the sentence, I could decide that's not the appropriate sentence and end up sentencing you to 30 months, as much as 30 months, and fine you $7,500 and suspend your license for 6 months to 5 years. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And again, you understand that conviction in this case would constitute a violation of your community control in the other case and would subject you to being returned to serve the balance of that time. You understand that?
Yes.
Go ahead. You can go ahead and talk to her.
Okay.
I mean, talk to her first.
Okay. Because I asked, like, she wanted me off of it, and I asked for just let me stay on. Can they please, like, even call her and let her and ask Sandra Kelly? Like, I asked to stay on. I was supposed to be off.
She is on judicial release, she said, from this court.
I paid everything off.
He just looked it up. It was a
being going in there and got to be
20
supervised.
sentence to prison.
For
Okay, here it is,
already
19 CR 37.
A couple months ago.
I do.
You know, like,
Yeah, Amber Coyle.
okay, thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate
Everything okay? All right. I'm having her get the other file, from the one Sean or on judicial release for. Okay. Now, do you hold any license or certification from any state or governmental agency that regulates any type of occupation or profession?
No, sir.
Right now, you have certain constitutional rights you must understand before I can accept a plea from you. First of all, you have a right to have counsel, and if you couldn't afford to hire one was appointed, could be appointed, and I did appoint Ms. Witt to represent you. Now, that appointment isn't simply to work the case out, but to provide any defense that could be available to you under the law that you would like her to provide. So, if you decide that you do not want to enter this plea of guilty, that you want to defend against the charge, Ms. Witt will continue to represent you, including a trial, if that's what you want. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Right now, under the Constitution, you have a right to have a jury trial on these charges, in which 12 people would be selected from a group of citizens that live in Highland County that are summoned for jury duty on your trial date. After they are selected, the evidence would be presented. They would be instructed on the law, and that jury would have to decide by unanimous verdict, meaning all 12 would have to agree on whether the state proved either or both charges. Now, if you did not want to have a jury trial, but you did not want to plead guilty, you can waive in writing, which means to give up the right to have a jury trial. In that case, would have what's called a court or bench trial. And that means that instead of a jury hearing the evidence and applying the law, the judge would hear the evidence, apply the law, and decide whether the state proves your guilt on either or both counts. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Did you need to talk to her again?
No, I was just.
Oh, okay. I saw you looking at her.
I kind of understood. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
I was trying to follow along.
All right. Well, if you don't understand something, tell me, and I'll try to explain it better.
Yeah, I kind of like. What was he about that? Yeah, not for him to judge it.
A bench.
Okay. Okay. So it's basically the same thing. Or the jury. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you have a right to have a jury trial, 12 people, or a trial to the court.
All right.
So, and if you wanted to have the trial to court, you have to waive in writing your right to have a jury trial. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Now, under the Constitution, you have a right to confront witnesses against you in open court and to cross-examine them through your attorney. What that means is that the witnesses against you have to come into court, testify in front of you and your attorney and anyone else who's present. After the prosecutor's done asking questions, your attorney asks questions. That's called cross-examination. The purpose of that is to bring out evidence that helps your side of the case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Under the Constitution, Ms. Coyle, you have the right to use the power of this court to compel or force witnesses to come into court to testify for you, the same as the state. So if you have witnesses that you're not certain are going to come in, thank you, voluntarily, at your request, the court will issue a court order called a subpoena, and that forces those persons to come to court to testify for you if you want them to, even though they don't want to be here, which is the same way the state's witnesses are required to come into court to testify against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Under the Constitution, Ms. Coyle, you have privilege against self-incrimination, which means you cannot be forced to give evidence at any time in this trial or in these proceedings, including trial. So no one can ever make you testify. The prosecutor can't, the judge can, it's your decision. And if you decide not to testify, the fact that you did not testify cannot be used against you in any way at any time in the proceedings by anyone. And in fact, no one's even allowed to comment about it, with one exception. If there's a jury trial and you don't testify, the judge does instruct the jury that because that is your right, they cannot consider it for any purpose. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, under the Constitution, Ms. Coyle, you are presumed innocent of these charges until proven guilty by the state of Ohio on every essential element of each charge. What that means is that the burden of proof isn't on you to try to show you're not guilty simply because you've been accused. In fact, under the law, you don't have to present any evidence at all in your own defense. You may, but you're not required to. But whether you do or not, the burden of proof will remain upon the state to prove your guilt by proof beyond a reasonable doubt on every essential element of each charge, which is the highest burden of proof that's known under the law. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, originally entered a plea of not guilty. Not guilty plea denied the allegations in the indictment, denied you committed any crime, and it exercised or invoked all the rights that I've just described for you. If you change your plea from not guilty to guilty as to counts 1 and 5, that is the complete opposite of the not guilty plea. The guilty plea would admit the allegation in the indictment, admit that they are a crime, and that plea would waive and give up all of the rights that I've just described for you, except for your right to have an attorney. You always have a right to have an attorney no matter what your plea. But with that exception, your plea of guilty waives, gives up your right to a jury or court trial. Waives, gives up your right to confront witnesses against you and to cross-examine through your attorney. Waives, gives up your right to use the power of the court to compel or force witnesses to be in court to testify for you, the same as the state. It waives or gives up your privilege and self-incrimination because you're the one saying you're guilty. That's what's used to find you guilty. It waives or gives up your presumption of innocence because if you say you're guilty, the state doesn't have to prove you're guilty. Subjects you to being sentenced immediately by the court. And finally, it waives or gives up any right to file an appeal that you think you may have had up until this point in the case. Now, if I should sentence you to the maximum sentence or under the certain circumstances you could file an appeal, that appeal would have to be filed within 30 days of your sentencing after being filed. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
And again, you're entering into this plea voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, I was just looking here at the 19 CR 37 case, the one in which you're on community control for illegal conveyance, and the sentence was 24 months, filed on July the 3rd of 2019. You were granted judicial release on May 26, and then you went to Star, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And so all the time that you would have in Star, and any time you were held in jail here until you went to Star, would also be counted against that sentence. And that, again, if you plead guilty to these charges here, then that would violate Rule 3, that you obey all laws of all jurisdictions, and would constitute grounds for that being revoked. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you have any questions about the charge, the possible penalties, and you understand this, the revocation and the judicial release?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you have no questions about that?
Nothing.
Okay.
No.
Have any questions about the constitutional rights I explained?
No.
Or the plea of guilty? Have any questions at all? Okay. Is there anything else you need to speak to your attorney about before we go any further?
Not if, just for them to maybe talk to the probation officer, because I was supposed to be off already. Even though I could have been off, I just wanted help, you know, for them to have like some hardship or something.
Okay. Any questions then?
No, sir.
All right. Then is it your decision, Ms. Coyle, to withdraw your not guilty plea, plead guilty to counts 1 and 5 in accordance with the plea agreement that's we've been going over?
Yes,
And
sir.
as to the charge in count 1, which states that on or about March 12, 2021 in this county, Christopher L. Pence and you did knowingly obtain, possess, or use a Schedule II controlled substance to wit fentanyl related compound in violation of Section 2925.11 of the Higher Revised Code, a fifth-degree felony carrying possible prison term between 6 and 12 months, fine of $2,500, possible life suspension of 6 months to 5 years, and also being a violation of your terms of your judicial release in case number 19 CR 37, which would subject that sentence to being imposed or completed. How do you plead?
Guilty.
As to count 5, which alleges on or about November 4, 2021, Highland County, that Teresa Ann Sharp and you did knowingly sell or offer to sell methamphetamine, a Schedule II controlled substance in violation of 2925.03A1 of the High Revised Code, which is a fourth-degree felony, carrying a possible penalty between 6 and 18 months, fine of $5,000, possible life suspension of 6 months to 5 years, and also constitute a violation of your judicial release conditions in 19 CR 37 that would subject you to having that sentence completed. How do you plead?
Guilty.
All right, the court finds that on this date in open court, defendant was advised of all of her constitutional rights, made a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of the same pursuant to criminal 11. Pleas accepted, ordered filed. Defendant is found guilty of counts 1 and 5, as set forth in the indictment. Counts 2 and 6 are dismissed. I see there's no request for pre-sentence reports. Are we prepared to go forward with sentencing? Ms. Witt?
Yes, Your Honor, but we do request that we have sentencing in a couple weeks so that she has time to get her affairs in order.
All right. All right, we'll continue the matter for sentencing under the same bond, so you'll still be required to be under pretrial supervision and report as they tell you to. We'll have the sentencing hearing on October the 5th at 9 a.m. It's a little more than 2 weeks, but that'll work better for the court schedule.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Just a second here. While we're on it, let's go ahead and do the other hearing. So we'll, real quick on this, 19 CR 37. You'll have to put it in, is it in the computer? All right. So this is in 19 CR 37, State of Ohio versus Amber Coyle. And present for the states, Mr. King, Assistant Prosecutor, Attorney Danielle Witt on behalf of the defendant, and Amber Coyle. Ms. Coyle has entered pleas of guilty in case number 22 CR 153 to 5th and 4th degree felonies. In this case, she was convicted of illegal conveyance, a 3rd degree felony, and sentenced to a 24-month prison term back on July 3rd of 2019. She was granted judicial release by entry filed May 13, 2020, effective May 26, 2020, and then was required to complete the STAR program. One of the conditions was that she obey all laws of all jurisdictions, and number 3, condition 3, and because that those pleas of guilty, she'll be sentenced on that on October the 5th. And Ms. Witt, you and your client understand the pleas in the other case and constitute a violation here and are stipulating to that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, so the court then will find that defendant has violated condition 3 of the judicial release community control conditions, and will set the matter for disposition on October the 5th at 9 a.m. at the same time of the sentence on the other case. Okay, get your assignment notice from the bailiff, and then on when you're supposed to report, but whenever you're supposed to report, contact the probation. Okay?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning. We're still waiting on Adam. So
Sorry.
Don't put us on record yet. Here he comes. All right, this is case number 21 CR 182, State of Ohio versus Michael A. Campanaro. You're Michael A. Campanaro appearing from the jail.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Campanero's attorney is Catherine Hapner, and representing the state is Assistant Prosecutor King. This is a sentencing hearing, defendant having previously pled guilty to receiving stolen property, fourth-degree felony. The matter being referred for a pre-sentence report. Now, Ms. Hapner, you and your client both agreeable to this sentencing being conducted by Zoom rather than in-person appearance in the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're all right with that, Mr. Campanaro?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Have each of the attorneys received a summary of the pre-sentence report?
State has, Your Honor.
All right. Anything from the state?
Only was contained in the plea agreement, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Hapner?
Thank you, Your Honor. The recommendation is for drug court. I know Ms. Sturgill has met with Mr. Campanaro about that. Ms. Sturgill has informed me that she does have a bed for him in a sober living facility. He did complete a rehab shortly before his incarceration on this charge. I think he completed that on May 18th of this year. And that was at the Phoenix Center in Mount Orab. I believe that was a 3-month residential program. That occurred, his completion of that occurred after the incident that led to this charge. So I do believe that he is serious about getting sober and staying sober. And that is probably a good thing. This is probably the first time that Michael has been completely serious about that in his life. And so I think that shows that he is facing up to his responsibilities. He's taking the steps he needs to get clean, get sober, stay sober. And we believe that in this case, drug court would be the appropriate resolution.
All right. Ms. Sturgill, when is the bed available at Clean Acres?
So, Your Honor, I'm sorry. My letter actually stated the bed was available tomorrow, but they did come and see him yesterday. They've had a couple of staff issues, so they are working to get me a date as soon as possible, but it will no longer be tomorrow. It should be next week sometime, but unfortunately, I'll just have to update when that becomes available.
All right. All right. Mr. Campanaro, anything that you would like to say?
Your Honor, I wish they had this program about 20 years ago. It might have changed my life for real. It's been a hard, long grind for me. I'm hoping and praying I'm able to keep up with my road to success and my recovery. That's really pretty much about it, Your Honor. I'm pretty serious about it this time. I want to make a difference. I want to try to start helping and giving back to the community for real. With that, I'll pass, Your Honor.
All right. Now, Mr. Campanaro, under the law, a court sentences people to community control, but I don't sentence people to require them to go into drug court. That has to be something that you want to do voluntarily. Now, I do have an application, I believe, in the file from you where it indicated that you understood the conditions that, of the program, and you were requested admission in the docket. It was filed on August 19th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I don't know how much detail I went into before, not probably a lot, but under the what the focus of community control is to try to help a person not violate the law or do something that will get them revoked and sent to prison. And while there is a requirement that you not use drugs and so forth, there's not as much intensive supervision and programming in that program. The drug court is much more intensive. It'll be a minimum of 18 to 24 months, as much as 3 years. Right now, most of our graduates, most of those who graduate are averaging about 22 to 24 months in a program. The focus of which is to help you get sober, stay sober, and address any other issues you have, mental health, etc. And by doing that, what we see is that if people are staying sober and maintaining sobriety, they're not committing crime, so they don't go to prison. But the focus is your substance use disorder and or mental health issues. That's the focus. So, is that what you want to do now?
Yes, sir.
All right. The court then will grant your request and transfer your case to the drug court docket. And it's the order of the court that you be put under community control under the drug court docket program for a period of 3 years under these conditions. First of all, it'll be all conditions that are in the program description that you signed that Ms. Sturgill went over with you, or Ms. Davis, whoever did it. And I'm going to highlight these, but all the conditions that are in that program description must be complied with. First, you're to obey all laws of all jurisdictions. Conduct yourself in law-abiding manner at all times. Report when and as directed. Be truthful in all statements you make to the probation department as well as answers you give to questions that they may ask you. You must keep them informed of your residence and place of employment at all times. You may not change either without prior permission. You may not leave the state of Ohio at any time without prior written permission. You may not enter upon the grounds of any correctional facility, nor communicate with or attempt to communicate with anyone who's an inmate in those facilities without prior permission. You may not purchase, possess, own, use, or have under your control any firearm, ammunition, dangerous ordnance, or weapons of any other type. You may not purchase, possess, use, or have under your control any controlled substance, drug of abuse, CBD oil, kratom, or any variant or analog of any controlled substance or drug that has effects similar to controlled substances or drugs of abuse. Nor may you have any instrument, device, or thing that may be used to administer them or prepare them for administration, unless you have a lawful prescription, a copy of which you must provide within 24 hours of receipt to the probation department. You may not obtain a medical marijuana card within the drug court docket, and you're to submit to testing when and as directed. You're not to purchase, possess, use, have under your control any kind of an alcoholic beverage, nor may be present places where they're sold or being consumed, even so otherwise lawful. You're not to associate with anyone as a co-defendant in this case, if any, nor any other person has a criminal record, is a member of a gang or criminal group, or any other person who has in the past or could in the future influence you to commit a criminal offense or to violate these conditions unless that's approved in writing by your supervising officer. It applies to any family members qualified under that definition, excluding those with whom you were residing immediately prior to the commission of this offense. After the date of this order, you're not permitted to marry or establish cohabitation in a common law marriage type of relationship with another without written permission. You must report any charge of violating the law or any arrest, citation, conviction, or other charge of violating the law not later than the next business day after that occurs. Provide your supervising officer financial information and records so your ability to pay any fines, fees, or costs can be reviewed. Excuse me. Now, if either the probation officer or any other employee of the probation department refers you for an evaluation or assessment for any other type of treatment, therapy, counseling, training, and programming, you'll submit to that. If there's a recommendation for additional programming, you're to enroll in and successfully complete that. You'll remain in jail until there's a bed available to you, Clean Acres, or if there's another facility that's appropriate as determined by probation, then you could go there. You're, again, to comply with all the conditions of the drug court program and the program description, including all treatment plans and recommendations of your treatment team. And you must complete successfully your treatment plan. Now, by being placed on community control rather than being sentenced to prison, you're deemed to have consented to a search without a warrant of your person, residence, vehicles owned by you or used by you, or any other property or place that's under your control, where you're found at any time by any officer of the probation department. There won't be any fine imposed. You all are ordered to pay the court costs as a condition of the community control. You'll make payment arrangements for that. And if you fail to make payments, then the clerk can collect that through various means, including levying on bank accounts, wages, earnings, or other assets that you may have. If that doesn't collect it, then the court could order you to do community service and give you credit for each hour you worked and an hourly rate set by the court, and each hour you worked will reduce your judgment by that amount until paid in full. Now, in the event that the probation department treatment team feels that you're non-compliant, the probation officer will file a written notice of that with the court. You'll be given a copy. There will be a hearing. You'll be entitled to have an attorney. The outcome of that hearing is that you have failed to comply. Then at that time, the court can terminate you from the drug court docket and sentence you to 18 months and fine you $5,000. If that happens, upon completion of that prison term, the adult parole authority may exercise the option under the law to require you to be put under post-release controlled supervision for a period of up to 2 years. If that happens, you'll be supervised by a parole officer in the conditions they set, and if during that period of time they determine that you have failed to comply, they can return you to prison and make you serve an additional period of up to 9 months for any one violation, which is also be the cap, the maximum is half of all the prison term for all violations. But should you commit a new felony, then in addition, whenever sentence a judge, a new case could impose upon you, that judge could also sentence you for committing that offense while under post-release control, in this case, to an additional period of a year, or whatever time is left on that period of post-release control, whichever is greater. If that occurs, that has to be served consecutively to the sentence of the new case. All right. Is there anything further, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, it looks like you'll have a bed sometime next week, Mr. Campanaro. All right. Thank you. All right, case number 22 CR 57, State of Ohio versus Malik, Aubry, Eugene Robinson. Present for the state's Assistant Prosecutor Adam King. Present for the defendant's Attorney Catherine Hapner. And you are Malik, Aubry, Eugene Robinson.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Robinson has entered pleas of guilty to count 7 and count 9, both of which are aggravated trafficking in methamphetamine second-degree felonies. At the request of the parties, the matter was deferred for sentencing until today. I believe the plea was on July 25th. All right. Anything from the state regarding sentencing?
Only was contained in the plea agreement, Your Honor.
Ms. Hapner?
Thank you, Your Honor. We did come to an agreement on sentence. I think the issue before the court today is that my client was on PRC. And and I've explained to Malik that it is in general your position that you enforce the PRC time, we are asking you to make an exception today. Malik, while he was out, he was working, he had full-time employment, he was compliant with his reporting requirements. We believe that enforcing that PRC today would not serve any purpose. He is going to be serving a fairly lengthy prison term. He has accepted that, and he's taken responsibility for that. And enhancing that, we believe it is not, it's just not going to serve any purpose. He's going to be paying for this crime, and I believe that if he's released after this sentence, as opposed to imposing that mandatory or that PRC time, that he will once again be a legitimate citizen working. His mother is just a delightful person, and she has been trying to get him back onto the right path. I think she was working on that. She was getting him there, and I think that she will continue with that. And so we'd ask that you not impose that PRC time.
Mr. Robinson, anything you would like to say on your own behalf?
First, I want to apologize for my actions that got me here, but I also want to give a little insight on like who I am, a lot of things I've been through, because I was on PRC. Just to explain, like I was convicted of that crime, but it's not like per se as black and white as it was. You feel me? I got 6 years for basically being around and witnessing something. When I was told in trial, I witnessed something, and by law, I guess as a citizen, if you see a crime, you're supposed to report it. So by default, I got hit with aiding and abetting. I still did my 6 years. I came home with partying, thinking I was being able to probably get high and make the cheese back, but really wasn't like so per se like super like trying to like drug dealer, or you feel me? Like everybody that I met like was through by people that I ended up working with or knew or some things like that. Like it wasn't my ambitions wasn't trying to be like, you feel me? It was just I made a dumb decision, you feel me? And I'm taking responsibility for that, you feel me? And I was also like, since I've been home, you feel me, like just having like pause. When I came home, I was doing music or whatever, you know, in PRC. Like it's not law, it's by policy. So by policy, we're not allowed to be around anything with like a trigger or anything, like whether it's a prop, a gun, because I did music. It's a style of music called drill rap or whatever. And that's what I ended up going back for the 9 months for it too. So I remember you mentioned it, but I didn't know if the parole would put it in there. Like I had a videographer and everything there to tell him like it was a prop and he was doing that. But because through policy, we're not allowed to be with anything with a hair trigger. I did 9 months, but going back to like, doing my 9 months. You feel me? I've been gone since I was 18. I really didn't know Like, it's a statement of keeping a job or having a job. And then, you know, you in jail, you float and do what you want to do or whatever. But just me being, like, at Lucasville and having, like, certain different structures and things, I already had my mind made up and I was already going, like, working. So, you feel me? I just want the question, you know, like, I have been working, you feel me? Like, I'm more closer to being, like, rehabilitated and being a person in society, and it's probably perceived, you feel me? But, yeah. And also, like, I'm just pretty much asking, though, because I understand that, like, I want to thank you for giving me the 30 days. You gave me the 30 days to get myself together, you feel me? But I also want to state, like, I haven't never, like, ran on no bond ever in my life. I always show up to my court dates on time, you feel me? I was just asking or wondering because I was going over with people, like, how to process, like, I understand that, like, I can't get no more continuances because it's wasting the court's time. But I was just letting it be known, like, when I'm sentenced today, no matter what it is, you feel me, whether you impose or don't impose, like, I'm giving you my word, like, I would never run. I was gonna be here because of the responsibilities that I got, you feel me, in my life right now, whether it's 10 years or 4 years, I gotta get this going ahead so I can get on to my next chapters. So, you feel me? But the only thing I'm mainly asking for on the mercy side, like, and for the courts is to understand, like, you know, it's on average, it's like $2,200 a year on average for $200 a month, just from basic eating or just talking to your family. And since I've been here, I took a lot of the responsibility off my mother and people around me. They getting older, and I've been working, and I've been, like, even doing some, you know, what's his name, Ramsey? I forget his name. Managing my money and all that. Yeah, I just was asking, like, if I was sentenced today to any length of time, if I could get, like, a 20 more day or 2 week day, just so I can be able to put myself in a better position. You feel me? I understand, like, we all got to take responsibility for our actions, and I am. You feel me? I always have been, like, that type of person. Like, but I'm just asking, like, because I feel like I'm showing, and I feel like I show that I'm, like, trustworthy in that aspect. Like, you feel me? I'm not. You feel me? Ain't nowhere for me to run to or go. I'm just trying to put myself and my family in a better position, so when I do take on this role and go in there, like, you feel me, my pressure and everything won't be so, you feel me? But that's what I was asking too, like, if that was possible, I swear to God, I appreciate that so much. And I do want to apologize to your county and your city for being involved when I was involved in. But I want to just, like, state, like, I know, yeah, drugs and all that, like, but everything just don't be that's so much, like, cookie cutter, or black and white. Like, yeah, I did that thing, or, you feel me? But even if you see on my indictment, it wasn't like no orchestrated or gang, or, you feel me, it was more, you feel me, dude and girl getting high, chilling, like, playing, like, you feel me, stupid, you feel me? But I just want to let you know, like, that's not my ambition. My ambition is to try to steal my life back.
I believe his mother would like to say a few words.
All right. Go ahead, ma'am. You will state your name, please.
My name is Julie Robinson. I'm the mother of Malik Robinson. I thank you for taking time to give me an opportunity to come before you this morning. It's stated in the letter, he has made great strides. So when he first came home, not this time, I'm going to go back to when he came home, because he was incarcerated at the age of 18. So when he first came home, it was like, he felt, and I could see, it was like he was a gerbil on a reel, just running. He didn't know where, trying to find himself and trying to understand. what to do and how to do because he had been gone for so long, just trying to get reacclimated to society. And in that, this is how we evolved to here. Prior, when he was speaking about the PRC, when he was incarcerated this last time for the violation, what he was expressing was he had a video shoot, and in the video shoot, he had a fake gun, but it looked like a gun. So his parole officer saw the video and saw it, so that's why he got violated and did the 9 months was for having, she said it was a gun, but it was a prop, and they didn't take into consideration the testimony from the videographer, you know what I mean, from the videographer. They just she took what she saw. So that's why he got violated. So I just wanted to lay some groundwork. So to this incident, I do not condone the behavior at all. I don't at all. I love him. He is my son. I have raised him differently, you understand? Sometimes when you get in a fork in the road, when you're trying to find your way, and his father is absent in his life, trying to find his way on his own, and me being a woman, I can push, but it's hard as a man. I'm not a man. So, but he has really taken ownership. Prior to even getting incarcerated, he was trying to find employment. It was hard because of his record. But this time when he came home, he didn't stop until we found a job. And he has been actively working, just being active and doing what he needs to do for himself, being active in a way to where, as a parent, you have stresses from your child, but I've been confident in sleeping with because I know he's making positive decisions and he's moving in the right direction. And I thank God for that. I thank God for changing his mindset and his heart. I asked you this morning to take mercy on him, to show compassion toward him, and to not give him the PRC because he does have to do that lengthy time. I know that he has already shown that he is positive, a positive contributor to society. Thus far, since he's been home, young people, he's around talking to the young men, like telling them everything that's gone on with him. You don't want to take this road. You want to listen. Don't do this. Showing direction. Taking it upon himself to go to church. At first, he was going to church because I felt like I made it. but I could see where it switched up. It wasn't, I have to make it. He was calling me if he wasn't home, like, Mom, come and pick me up. I want to go. So I just see the changes in him, and I thank God for it. And I just ask this morning that you show compassion and mercy toward him. And I thank you for this opportunity to speak to you, and I thank you for being having a listening ear.
Anything else, Ms. Hatter?
No.
All right. Well, Mr. Robinson, you have, a good personality. You're very articulate. You have a real nice family. They've tried to help you. I think it's not for one of their efforts that you've committed these crimes. It's you. You're the ones responsible for your conduct, and your family is and friends, and in some of the letters that you submitted, clearly you have people in your corner. But the issue is your behavior. You were on PRC and had one violation and served some time for that. You committed these violations while you were on PRC. And it was over, and if it were something like just possessing drugs or abusing drugs, that might be something I'd look at different. But in terms of, as your attorney said, my position has been for the past 14 years, as I've been judge and will be till I leave in 4.5, is that if somebody commits a felony while under post-release control, it means that they had a very serious offense, and committing new offenses while they're still on that time warrants that time being imposed. And in 14 years, I've never failed to impose it. You do have 2 felonies, both of which are mandatory time, and so there's no discretion there at all in terms of whether you get sentenced or not. The plea agreement was 2 years on count 7 and 3 on count 9, as well as restitution in the amount of $1,740. And I believe there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, five separate charges originally in the indictment. And I was just thumbing through here, which involved 5 different dates. So you were coming down here in 5 different dates to commit these offenses, and you were trafficking. I mean, these aren't possession charges; these are trafficking, and significant trafficking. So it's a judgment order of the court. That is count 7. You be and are hereby sentenced to Correctional Reception Center, Orion, Ohio. I need jail time credit for a period of 2 years. As to count 9, and that 2 years is mandatory. As to count 9, the sentence is that you'd be sentenced to Correctional Reception Center, Orion, Ohio, for a period of 2 years. Each of those sentences are ordered to be served consecutively to the other. The court finds that he committed these offenses while under post-release control supervision. They were committed as different courses of conduct over a period of different days, and that one single prison term will not adequately reflect the seriousness of the offense. And the sentences being the minimum sentences provided, because the maximum could have been 8 years, is not disproportionate to the harm. Further, your criminal history demonstrates that it's necessary to protect the public to impose consecutive sentences. Now, as to count 7, under the new Reagan-Tokes law went in effect a couple years ago, the sentence that is imposed is a minimum sentence. You have to serve it all. And then the Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections does have the discretion, if they decide to exercise it, to extend that by up to 1 year to make it a maximum of 3 years. That will be up to the DRC. The court has no involvement with that. Count 9 is also a second-degree felony, but under the law, those can only be one 50% add-on. So that would only be as to count 7. Now, it's also ordered that you serve the additional time that was remaining on your PRC, which according to the notice that I received on March the 31st was 1,458 days at that time. And since that date, my math is correct, 161 days have been off of that, so that would leave a balance of 1,297 days, and that will be served as required by law consecutively to the first sentences on counts 7 and 9. Now, according to the sheriff, you were in jail on April 7th and April 8th is 2 days of jail time credit. We'll count on that. Now, upon completion of the prison term, Mr. Robinson, and again, the two-year sentences are mandatory, meaning they must all be served. Upon completion of the prison term, it is mandatory that you be put under post-release control for a period of at least 18 months up to a maximum of 3 years as decided by the Adult Parole Authority. You'll be supervised on the conditions they set. If during that period of time they determine that you have failed to comply, they can return you to prison to make you serve an additional period of up to 9 months for a single violation, up to a maximum of half of your prison term for all violations. However, if a violation is a new felony, then in addition to whatever sentence the judge in the new case could impose, that judge is also authorized to sentence you, as has happened in this case, to an additional period of 1 year or whatever time's left on that post-release control, whichever is greater, which must be served consecutively to the sentence in the new case. Now, you're also ordered to make restitution in the amount of $600 jointly and severally with Mandy Lynn Young and James Brooke Beamer, $600 jointly and severally with Mandy Lynn Young, and $540 jointly and severally with Latrell Devontae Miller. And those restitution payments will be made through the victim witness restitution escrow account, and you'll pay any fee associated with that. And that is a substantive order, can't be discharged in bankruptcy. It doesn't go away until you pay it or you die, whichever occurs first. And if you have the ability to pay it and do not, the court has the jurisdiction to order you to be held in contempt and be subject to incarceration. Now, you're also ordered to pay the court costs, which judgments, grant, and executions ordered. And if you fail to do that, the clerk can collect that through various means, including levying on bank accounts wages, earnings, or other assets you may have. If that doesn't collect it, then once you complete your prison term, not while you're in prison, but once you complete it, the court could permit you to do community service and give you credit for each hour you work. And now the rate set by court, each hour you work, reduce your judgment by that amount until paid in full. All right, is there anything further, counsel?
Just the issue of the fine, and could you repeat the number of days under PRC, Your Honor? I missed that.
Okay. 1,297.
1297.
What's that?
And if you had any, you have the ability to pay the mandatory fine, Mr. Robinson.
Your Honor, Mr. Robinson was indigent, I was appointed.
Right.
And while he was working, while he was out, obviously he's going to be otherwise
Sure.
engaged, so we would ask those be
Right.
paid.
Court will find then Mr. Robinson is not able to pay the mandatory fine, is unlikely to be able to pay it in the near future, therefore it will be waived. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're remanded to custody, Mr. Robinson. I'm gonna go get some coffee.
My earrings and my,
He's got a ring on his earrings.
so, in your pockets.
Gonna give to
Yeah. I'm gonna get that now.
you want to take your money in case they put it on the books or something.
Yeah.
Is it, but is there a back on his ear? I don't want to pull it out, but I can't.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't want to touch it. I'm just trying to present it. Hang on, look at my ear. See that?
Case number 21CV185, State of Ohio versus, Highland County General Health District versus Susan Haskell. I need a note sheet then. Plaintiff's represented by Assistant Prosecutor Adam King. Mr. Webb's also present for the plaintiff as their representative. And you're Susan Hatfield?
Yes.
All right, this is a continuation of a hearing in progress on contempt from, I believe, July 12th. The defendant was charged with contempt for failing to comply with the court's order to clean up the premises due to solid waste violations. So where do we stand on that as far as the plaintiff is concerned?
This property is still not clean, Your Honor.
Okay, has there been any significant progress made?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Not, at least not since we were last here on July 12th.
And when was the last time the property was inspected?
Yesterday. Yesterday, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Hatfield, so what's the problem?
Why ain't my yard clean? Besides toys in my yard. And I picked most of them all
So
up
you feel you're in
yesterday.
compliance?
Huh?
You feel that you've complied?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, that's fine, then we'll go ahead and have some
I mean-
testimony here.
I mean, what else do you want?
I don't know, they'll have to show me what it is,
Oh, okay, I'm just
okay?
saying.
That's all right, I just want to know if you agreed or disagreed.
I mean, I tried to do this stuff, I got 4 babies at my
Okay, no, I don't need to hear you arguing at this point.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. So they're going to go ahead and present some evidence. So,
Plaintiff would call Philip Webb, Your Honor.
Mr. Webb, if you would stand and raise your right hand to be sworn, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, you may inquire, Mr. King.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Philip Webb?
And are you currently employed?
Yes, sir.
Where at?
Highland County Health Department.
And what are your job duties there at the health department?
Inspections?
And are you familiar with the property located at 11424 Dundee Drive in Hillsborough?
Yes, sir.
And is that property located in Highland County?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with who owns that property?
Yes, sir.
Who is that?
Susan Hatfield?
And you see Susan Hatfield in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Could you please point to her? Let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
So ordered.
And Mr. Webb, when did you last visit the property located at 11424 Dundee Drive?
Yesterday morning around 10 a.m.
And in general terms, could you kind of describe the overall condition of the property when you were there?
There was a large trailer with a large amount of solid waste on the property.
And while you were at the property yesterday, did you take photos?
Yes, sir.
Handing you what has been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1 for identification purposes. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
That is the back of the trailer with the large amount of solid waste.
Now handing you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 for identification purposes. Do you recognize that?
Yes, that's the front of the property with the trailer, and then there's a burn barrel with half-burned plastics and cans, and there's other solid waste on the roof of the shed, at the door, around the vehicles, on that picture.
Now I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 3. Do you recognize that?
Yep, that is solid waste on the side of the structure, which is to the left of the house.
And finally, Plaintiff's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize that?
Yep, that is the front of the yard that has the hot water heater and the miscellaneous construction debris.
And our plaintiff's exhibits 1 through 4, true and accurate depictions of the property at 11424 Dundee Drive in Hillsborough as it appeared on September 7th of 2022.
Yes, sir.
No further questions?
You show her the photographs, Mr. King.
Yes, this is on.
Well, wait a minute. You have the right to ask questions of this witness, and then you'll be given an opportunity to testify for yourself.
Okay.
So just look those over, and then if you have any questions that you would like to ask Mr. Webb, you may do so.
If you don't need them, I'll take them back.
I don't understand, because when I talked, I would point to what,
You can hold on to them.
All right, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Webb?
Yeah, about the photos here.
Or anything else? Yeah.
Yeah, if you did this yesterday morning, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, it did look like this. But if you went out there this morning, it don't look like this no more. It's all cleaned up, and this debris right here, most of it was my grandkids' toys that I raked up. There's a pile of debris right here because I raked my yard and I never picked it up yet. So everything right here is out of my yard, besides the hot water tank. That's a new hot water tank that's getting ready to go into my house because I'm redoing my bathroom. This right here is the side of my house where we added onto my bathroom. Yeah, there is wood here.
Wait a minute, you're testifying, just ask questions.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And you can testify in a minute.
Okay, I'm so sorry, sir.
No problem.
I mean, it's just, you know, they're saying I don't clean it up, but I do.
Well, again, you're arguing, just ask questions. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Webb?
Okay. And this right here, I mean, most of this stuff is for my bathroom, my doors, my windows. This truck, we just got it.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Hatfield?
No.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, I'm so sorry.
All right, anything
It's
else,
just-
Mr. King?
No, Your Honor, we just asked that exhibits 1 through 4.
All right, if you would present those, please. All right, now, Ms. Hatfield, if you would like to testify on your own behalf, you may do so. So if you would like to testify, stand and raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, now, you may testify on your behalf as to what you have done and what you believe the situation is.
Okay, like on one of the pictures, yeah, if you see that truck there, we just got it fixed because the brakes was out of it. This morning, if you would have come by my house like you do every morning before we come to court, that trailer, that truck is hooked to that trailer, getting ready to pull it out of my yard. My front yard, yeah, I didn't get out of bed until what, 11? I didn't think I have a time limit in the morning time to be out there working in my yard. But everything in that yard is cleaned up beside that hot water tank, which is going to go into my house. There is debris in my yard because I raked my yard yesterday. I called and had my grandson to come home to help me weed. He weeded. And the stuff on the other side of my house, yeah, you see my side. Oh, yeah, you know, I'm remodeling my bathroom. Well, I made it bigger because I have 4 kids in my house. Yeah, most of that wood and stuff is there. Yeah, we was burned. I had a little wood thing for my grandkids the other night because it was Labor Day weekend. My 5-year-old grandson, I had to holler at him because he was throwing stuff in my fire pit. I had to get it out. Yeah, that's what's in them barrels back there. And whenever the ashes gets bigger, we put it in the thing, we dump it. I mean, I'm one person, you know, and it's like, I can't do everything. It rained for a week. I mean, I can't go out there in thunderstorms and everything and try to work on this to please everybody. I mean, I got neighbors coming by my house, oh, man, your yard looks good. People I've never seen now. I said, yeah, but why are they still on me? I said, I keep picking up these toys every day to make my yard look good. I got a 5-year-old. His friends comes over. They throw trash. I go out there and pick it up. I mean, I don't know what else I could do besides sell my place and leave, I reckon. And don't have nowhere to go with my grandkids because I have 4 of them that I'm raising. I'm so sorry. I mean, I don't lie. I'm 58 years old. I should, you know, I didn't know I was going to spend the rest of my life in court over this, that I'm trying to do my best. But, I don't know.
Anything else? Any questions?
Just one question, Ms. Hatfield. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth here. So is it your testimony that if Mr. Webb were to leave here and go out to your property this morning, take photos, that aside from the water heater, which you said you're in the process of getting put in the house, the other solid waste is not on the property anymore?
Right.
Okay, no further questions.
I mean, can I say something? But when I was leaving the house this morning, the truck that's in the picture, we just got brake lines and everything on it, and we got the brakes bled out. It was hooked to that trailer, get ready to pull it out this morning when I left to come here. But yeah, if he would come out there and take a picture of it, all that stuff right there, yeah, I might have a little pile because I couldn't find my gloves and I'm not using my hands to pick up if there's anything in it, you know. And all I have to do is it's just like tree branches. My leaves from my tree that I raked up out of the yard in that pile, all I have to do is pick it up and put it in.
Tree branches are not solid waste. I mean, that's naturally occurring stuff.
Well, that's the pile.
Everybody does.
But that's the pile he sees in my yard.
Well, what I'm looking here, I don't, you know, if there's tree branches there, I'm not even.
I take that back.
I see one branch in the back of the truck,
Yeah.
but that's not solid waste. That's not what they're talking about. What I'm looking at in these photographs, I don't see any tree branches. I just see lots and lots of crap.
No, I'm just saying, it was in the yard, but it was a tar bear, which I stretched it out to get the water out. But
Okay.
in my driveway, it's covered up. It's my floor that goes into my bathroom. I don't have nowhere in my house to put that, so it's there in my driveway. It was right in front of the truck, covered up in it with the green tarp. I have 2 doors there and a window there. Then goes for my bathroom. I get how everything.
When are you going to get the bathroom floor in and the water heater in?
The guy who's doing that, he works, so when he gets off work, he's back and forth.
So when is that going to be? Is it going to be soon?
Yes, like I told him, my winter time's coming, I want it done as soon as
Right.
possible.
All right. Okay, well, Ms. Hatfield, here's the situation. The property as of yesterday, after, see, we originally had this first hearing, you know, you were first in court in January, and that was the order, and you were given 60 days, which would have been at the end of March. That's when the motion was filed. The first hearing, I believe, was set in June. Actually, it was set for May 2. And then was continued to June, and then we continued it until July 12th, and then again August the 3rd. And you know, you say that as of now or shortly that it's been in compliance, but you had plenty of time. And so the court finds that you are in contempt for failure to comply. Now, the order of the court will be that you're going to be sentenced to serve 30 days in the county jail. However, you are permitted to purge that. We will have a hearing on October the 6th at 11 a.m. And at that time, you're to report here unless the plaintiff has filed a written notice that you have complied with the court's order and purged yourself of contempt. And what purge means is that if you do what you're required to do, you won't have to serve the 30 days. You will have to pay court costs. But if I do not get a written notice by the 5th of October, not that morning, but the 5th, that you are in compliance, then you are to appear here at 11 a.m. on the 6th. And if you have not complied, then at that time you're going to report to the jail to serve your sentence. You know, I understand that it takes time to clean it up, but this mess wasn't created in a day. You know, it just keeps accumulating. Now, as far as having a water heater and if you're flooring and stuff, that's fine. You can have that kind of thing, but you should have it stored and covered up so it's not being damaged, to show that it's not trash or waste, that it's something that's going to be used. And then that's something you can do temporarily. So you said it should be done shortly, so that gives you 30 days to get it done. So it gives you, you know, a good reason to tell the guy that's doing it to get her done. But you know, this has been going on and on and on, and you know, we can't just continue to give you extension after extension after extension. So you know, home ownership carries with it responsibility, not to create these kinds of problems, because this is a lot of junk and a lot of stuff, waste that can create rodents and other health hazards, and that's why we have these laws. So, you'll get an assignment notice from the bailiff here to report at 11 a.m. on October the 6th. We'll issue an assignment notice as well. But again, if you have completed it to the satisfaction of the health department, again, storage of materials that are being used is not trash. And just have to make sure that they are, things, it's not junk, but it's stuff that's going to be used. And you can explain that to Mr. Webb or whoever comes out to inspect the premises. All right, good morning. Welcome to Drug Court. Have a kind of light agenda today. A couple of folks that aren't able to be with us, and we have a couple others that were just admitted that aren't here. So we'll go ahead and get started and get you out of here early. So start with Autumn Corlonis.
Good morning.
Morning, Ms. Corlonis. So tell us what's been going on.
Everything is really, not much has changed. Still working with Robert and Samantha with work. We're getting my resume and talking about some job options. I'm getting more visits with my daughter. I'm working on unsupervised visitation still. CPS has kind of been a pain here lately, but I talked to Kim and she's gonna reach out to my CPS caseworker. And other than that, things have been going pretty good. Mental health is all right, and my counselor is pretty amazing. Other than that, I've been doing pretty good. I took my daughter to the fair yesterday, and we just had a blast. The autocross was amazing. I thought it was better than the derby, but it was pretty cool. She enjoyed that.
Okay, Robert.
Yes, I think you're doing a good job with folks on recovery, getting involved with your daughter, really just reactivating to be back here. So that's great. A little slower with you just to really call through some job needs, some activities, find out what you really enjoy, what you really enjoy. Find a good shift.
John?
She's making all the calls, making all the reports, passing drug tests, doing good.
Okay, Tanya?
Sherry couldn't be here today, but she did send reports saying that she's meeting with her regularly. She's attending groups, attending her individuals, and everything's good on their end.
Okay. So, what happened with the job with the construction company? That didn't pan out?
Well, I called her the other day. She, there's a few people on the crew. There's not really much. She told me I could come back anytime, but she just has pretty good people for a crew right now. Like,
I mean, you could come back anytime if they have a job.
Yeah, there's a job, but there's just a lot of people working right now. She's got a good amount of people in her crew.
So she doesn't have an opening?
Yeah. Like, there's no room in the Suburban, like
Oh, for transportation?
Yeah, transportation, yeah.
Okay.
And she don't want to use two vehicles to go back and forth if she don't have to, which I totally really don't blame her.
Okay. Well, I think that, we really want to continue to work closely with Sam and Robert about your job situation, because I think that will be, helpful. And also to work with them in terms of trying to figure out a way to get a little more organized so, you can deal with everything, because I know sometimes you get stressed out a little bit and maybe forget things or whatever. And so, that would be helpful. But otherwise, it looks like everything's going well. And I'm glad to see you able to spend time with your daughter. And how old is your daughter again?
She will be 6 the 29th of this month.
Good. Is she in school or kindergarten?
She's in kindergarten.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, everything's stable. That's good. But we would like to see, hopefully start looking at the job. And like I said, listen to what Robert and Sam are telling you about, because, there's a lot of openings out there, but we need to make sure that you get into something that, you're able to do. I know you're concerned a little bit about your schedule with your daughter, and if she's in school, it seems to me daytime job would work better than an evening job for you. But there is still the matter of coordinating your appointments and so forth, so you can do that. So, so work on that. That'd be something I hopefully will be able to see you make some progress on that. Nothing's bad. Everything's just kind of even, and so we want to see things make a little bit more progress. So, kind of work on that for your next our next court date. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Jason Vilvins. All right, Mr. Villain, so tell us how things have been going.
Things are going pretty good. It's getting better by the week. Pop John's still working out there. It's actually starting to like it. Sure growing. So he's sending me already talking about giving me a raise. So everyone there is in recovery. Great people. I didn't think I'd like it. I'm honestly starting to like it. Trying to crush my dreams on somewhere else. But mental health still going good. I talked to one guy a week there for Aubry and CJ, but medicine, I'm going for another. I'm going for it today to get back on medications, trying to find the right ones and places that my Medicaid will accept.
Is that for medical assisted treatment, MAT?
Yeah. For medicine, yeah. Where I used to go, we're going to Piketon today to make sure that I know they'll accept me and they'll give me medication that I really need. So I'm going down there after I leave here. But other than that, I'm still going to 2 meetings a week, church on Sundays, being my family. I'm not allowed around our kids, so we've been going fishing a lot. My son loves it, so kind of doing different events with that. Going to pay late this weekend, hopefully. Things are going good, man. I'm on a children's service case with them, so check figuring out. I'm allowed to stay the night there, but I ain't allowed to go hang out with them on the weekends. I'm going down there on the weekends just to chill and have fun with them. Going to group every day, having all the drug tests, so things are going good.
Okay, Alex?
Yes, Your Honor. First, he's not doing any MAT. I don't know if he knows what that is.
Oh, okay.
It's more mental health.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
Thank you for clearing it up.
Confusing what that meant. But yeah, Jason, I've seen some progress in his attitude over the last couple of weeks for sure, for certain. I feel like he is more humble. And his gratitude has gone up, and that, that's 2 things that we always look for in recovery with guys: is gratitude and humbleness. He's starting to display that, and he's starting to understand that. Sometimes you don't always get what you want, but sometimes it'll help you. And I think he's heading in the right direction.
Okay, John?
Yeah, he's making all his calls, checking in, seems a lot happier.
Sam?
Yep, you've been doing really great, just like Alex said, your attitude has continued to change and be positive. I know you asked us for some help with some clothes on the cabin here today. I know that wasn't easy for you, but I think you're starting to recognize that asking for help is not necessarily a bad thing, and also recognizing that your environment at work can be a positive outlook for a sober life.
Yeah, you surround yourself with good people. You said you're feeling humble, which is great to hear. It sounds like you're doing this.
Tanya?
Yeah, everything's really good. It seems like he's making a lot of progress, especially the last couple of weeks. Proud of him.
Well, I'm glad to hear the reports back from everyone that your attitude seems to be different, because I think that's what we were looking for. From before, is that you were having some trouble, I think, accepting some things, and I'm glad that you have opened up for that and looking at it and looking at the mental health aspect, because again, everybody that's in drug court, as well as almost everybody that's involved in substance use disorder, there's mental health components, whether it be an illness or some trauma experience or something that has happened, that's present almost every time, and so. You just have to open yourself up to that, and it sounds like you're doing that, and also recognizing that the environment that you're working at, Papa John's, well, that's not something you would have expected to do. The fact is, it's a great environment for you because everybody's in recovery, and you've got that support. Where you were working at another place where people were actively using, and so that just makes it harder on people in recovery. It doesn't mean that you're not trying or you're weak. It's just fact. That's the things that you have to deal with every day in recovery is triggers. And so, it sounds like you're in a really good place right now. I'm real pleased to see how you've reacted to what we've talked about the last couple of times. And so, I'm glad that you're looking at, talking with the doctor and seeing if there's any medication that might be able to be dispensed that might help you there, because there's nothing wrong with that, because you got a lot of, everybody's in recovery, particularly in drug court. You still have a lot going on, and there's still a lot of hill to climb, and so that's just gives you another tool to be able to use. So I'm glad that you're doing that. So I think you've seen some definite changes in you since last time, which are all for the good. So just keep doing that, And we'll look forward to seeing the same report next time or better. Anything else you'd like to say?
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, thank you. Carrie Price, Anthony. Oh, I'm sorry, ahead of myself. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are things going?
They're moving along. I just moved to transitional last Thursday. Just getting into the swing of things there, trying to get used to the new rules.
That's in Chillicothe?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything's going good. The groups are all right. Yeah. Just getting used to it.
Okay, Anthony?
Yeah, we're looking forward to the growth in the, the short-term goals, plus long-term goals, of course, employment, job, recovery, all those things. I think, things are working.
Okay, John?
Yeah, she makes all her call-ins. Sounds pretty happy. Probably hopefully more things going.
Tanya?
She's doing great. I'm just a little worried that, I know you're a little disappointed about the placement. It's not exactly where you want to be, but I think it's very admirable that you are giving it an opportunity to feel it out and didn't make any rash decisions. So that just shows a lot of growth and progress. But don't be afraid, we will work with you if it's not ideal and you come across problems. Be open about those, continue to, speak up on those things because we want you to be in the best placement for you also. So, but great thing to give it a chance and see where it goes.
Well, I know that's not the place you wanted to go, but there was just a hold up with, having a bed. It would have been a while, and so it's better for you to be somewhere else because you were ready for that. And so, important thing is to accept that and to be patient. I know it's, you want to get things moving, and you maybe have some disappointment, but you're handling it, and that's a good sign. Because nobody gets everything that they want. Sometimes we have to make changes in what's going on in our lives. So it sounds like you're adjusting, and Robert and Sam here, I think we're going to try to set up something with you to start talking to you long term about employment.
Anthony scheduled for us about 5 minutes ago. We're going to meet on Tuesday.
Good. Okay.
All right.
All right, great. So look forward to that. So. Like I said, this is a big step. You've completed moving in transitional, and just again be patient and just maintain and stay with the program, and like I said, reach out to everybody, and things are going to go well for you, I think. Anything else you'd like to say?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, John Richards. Hey, Mr. Richards, how are things going?
Pretty good. Not a whole lot's changed. Moved to phase 2, just going to groups and enjoying being there. I've left him and got me in a very ACM. I really like it. It's a good place to be.
Okay, anything else?
No, everything's
Okay.
going pretty good.
All right, we have Philip from ACM.
Yeah, so I actually had the pleasure of being on the other end of the call when he found out he was going to come to ACM. So just seeing his attitude change in the brief period of time that he has been here, and just the way that we were enjoying conversation on the way up here, he's truly opening up. He's coming into his own. Like I said, we moved to another house with a couple of other guys to help lead that house a little bit, and it's just, he's very young in our ministry, in our transitional, but I'm very enthused to see where he's going to go, because I really think he's opening up to everything that we have to offer.
John?
Yeah, he's making his call-ins. He sounds like he's also pretty happy where he's at.
Tanya?
Yeah, it seems like you're doing great. I was a little worried when you were standing in the office that day. Like you said, I don't think you handled the news very well. I think you thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. But it seems like you're really making it work. So I think you're doing great. I'm glad that you've kind of found your groove with it.
Well, I appreciate your attitude as well. I know you got out of Massey House and you thought things were going to move forward and everything's going to keep going, and that's what we always hope for. But again, experience shows that there's bumps in the roads for, for most people. And, the main thing is, again, is to be patient, accept, the situation and, apply yourself. And it sounds like you're doing that. You've got some good, positive feedback from the people there at ACM. And, it'll just, again, this takes time. Remember, I always tell people, getting out of treatment isn't, doesn't mean you're done, because, your sobriety is a lifetime journey. It's not, destination, and so that's just something to understand. So sounds like you are opening up and trying to accept that. And again, patience is a virtue. What my dad used to say. I didn't learn it for a long, long time. Some people think I still don't have it, but I guess I'll still strive to do that. But you just have to go with the program, and everybody's there to help you and support you. So it sounds like you're doing well. So just keep with the program, and I think things are going to look good for you. So we'll look forward to the next report. Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
All right. Thank you. Okay, well, that's a short program, short and sweet today. We just have a couple of recognitions here. Carrie Price for completing your residential and going to transitional. And Autumn Coronas, we've reviewed your self-assessment situation, and so we're moving you to phase 2, successful completion, or phase 3, successful completion of phase 2. Had your words there for a second. Yeah. All right. Announcements. Tanya?
Okay, I feel like I keep announcing like this expectation there's going to be an event, and then we keep not having an event, but the plan is for an event on the 16th. We're going to try the Air Force Museum again. More information will come on that because we won't have drug court that day. So event on the 16th. The next drug court is September the 30th, back to normal times on Friday, and 2 split sessions, Friday the 30th. But more information on the Air Force Museum for the 16th will be coming probably later today.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good week.